Hello everybody, so today we're going to be looking at getting started with Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Basics. And the reason I'm doing this is partly for curiosity and also partly because some of these tutorials often are presented online with just text, and then as soon as you start following them, you do most of a tutorial and then something doesn't quite work, and then you've wasted half an hour all because of one simple instruction part of the way through. So I thought I'd actually do this in its entirety and then potentially come back and revisit it and look at the Python API and the SDK for Python, which looks quite interesting. Anyway, so I've already clicked on this and loaded it just to save a bit of time. And here we go, OCI Basics. So if any of you are not familiar, OCI is the Oracle equivalent of Amazon AWS. So it's cloud infrastructure, and we've got the overview and the lab steps. So what we're going to do is create virtual cloud network, deploy a Linux-based virtual machine in the cloud, attach block volume storage to the instance, log in remotely via secure connection, install and configure a simple web application, terminate the instance and transfer the boot and block volumes to another instance. So there's an overview video there, but it's only 5 minutes long, and I don't know about you, but I like everything to be very thoroughly documented, and 5 minutes is not enough. Not for my liking. So without further ado, let's click Launch Lab, and what happens is it fires up a virtual machine for us. It's an instance of Red Hat, and obviously the cloud side of things is it's a sample, it's an OCI instance from, I believe it was Ashburn in the US. Not that it makes any difference, but it does, because there's things called regions, and you need the region nearest to where most of your users are going to be. So if you're based in the UK, really you would want your region to be London, or the alternative is in the west of the UK, which is Newport. They've got 3 data centers in London, or regions. Hang on, a region or a data center? I don't know. Anyway, they've got three in London and 1 in Newport. But if you're elsewhere around the world, I think there's 19 altogether, 19 regions, with another quite a few more planned anyway. So this does take a while to load, and for any of you, here we go. So what we've got is we've got a Linux box with there we go. You have to click on Luna, and this little thing was getting in my way the other day, but you can just drag it down there somewhere. And once we get going, I'll remove my webcam, because in case it obscures any of the action, accept all the cookies. So now you have to go back to the previous tab, click copy, that's your username, go back to this tab, paste it in, go back to that tab, scroll down, click copy, go back up here, click paste. Don't worry about the token, that was the 3rd thing down here. So lab details, region, yeah, that's the region, that represents a geographical location. Tenancy name, that's like your account name, kind of. Then you've got tenancy ID, compartment name, compartment ID. So while all that's loading, let me just go. Right, so then we see quick starts. So this is what's called the console, or the I don't want to take a survey. The cloud dashboard, I believe it's called. So let's get started without further ado. So now we've got a V editor cheat sheet down here, which is nice. Intended audience, beginner/intermediate technical users, new to cloud, new to Oracle infrastructure, basic computer knowledge, networking, storage, familiarity with Linux command line. So that sounds promising. Right, so let's get going. This should take about half an hour, so if you've got time, then watch along. So we're signed in. So we go. I've heard this called the double hamburger. Well, not the double hamburger, the triple hamburger. And we want networking. Create a VCN. So we're creating a virtual cloud network. And virtual cloud networks. And then this is slightly different to yesterday. I think it's because I've got my font bigger, so it's showing it differently. Anyway, we want to create a virtual cloud network with a wizard, hopefully. Pick a compartment. Yeah, so your compartment is here. Just have to scroll down a little bit. And yeah, Luna. I'm called Luna today, apparently. And there we go. So fill out the configuration form with the following information. Start the VCN wizard. Let's get rid of me again. And we're creating a VCN with a public subnet that can be reached from the internet. Also creates a private subnet that can connect to the internet through NAT gateway. Also privately connect to Oracle Services Network. So it makes a virtual cloud network, a public subnet, a private subnet. It gives you an internet gateway, a NAT gateway, and a service gateway. So yeah, let's start the wizard. So the basic information kind of gets filled in for you. So you just have to give it a name. So I'm just going to call it OCI as their tutorial shows me. VCN. Ensure your compartment is selected. Compartment, yeah, Luna. That's us for today. We're called Luna, remember. So Luna will be in all the drop downs, hopefully. We want a 10/16 net cider block, and then we slice it up, carve it up with a .0 and a .1/24 subnet. User main, yeah, we take all the defaults, and then we click next. And then we click create. So 5 green ticks, that's all good. Virtual cloud network creation complete. You have created virtual cloud network with the following components. Yeah, okay. Next. View virtual cloud network, and we should get a nice big green hexagon, which we do. And in the next step, we will change the VCN security list and open port 80 to the internet. So from resources section on the left-hand side of the VCN screen, so we need to come down here, and there's resources somewhere. No, we click the, you have to choose which subnet first. So you pick your subnet. Resources. Default security list for, yeah, so we choose the private subnet. And then we need to choose security lists. It's already showing us there. Add security list. Oh, no, not add security list. What is it? Choose your security list. Yeah, we don't want to make a new security list. We choose the existing one. And then we add ingress rules. And then So we want to allow traffic from quad 0, which represents in networking language, that means everywhere. And then we just say all incoming ports, any source port and destination port, and then we just give it a description. And then we add ingress. There we go, just make the description a bit more meaningful. And let me just make that slightly smaller. And there you can see our rule is the 4th one down there. So what we've done so far is we've created a virtual cloud network, and we've just added an exception to allow traffic from the internet through to our web server that we're going to create. So next, launch compute instance. So next we go back up to the three horizontal lines, which I heard somebody called the hamburger. I've never heard it called that before, so that's a new one to me. And dedicated virtual machine instances. So we've got instances, and I believe we need to create an instance. So create compute instance. So the first thing we do is create instance. Enter a name, example OCI basics. Select your compartment, that's already selected. Availability domain, AD1, good. Going down, we want to change the image. So let's click change image. Platform images. We need to switch to the Oracle Cloud Developer image. So we go to there, select that image, accept the terms of use. And then the next thing is we need to what's called change the shape. And we select Intel. And then we choose 2.1. So we go for this one here. Block storage only, select shape. And then in the configure networking, oh, I think we have to, oh, we just do that, do we? Configure networking. Oh no, there's more to do here, sorry. So then we configure networking. Select existing virtual cloud network. So the one we've just created is here. Select existing subnets. We take all the defaults. Assigning public IP address makes this instant and accessible from the internet. Yeah, that's fine. Add SSH keys. This is, I got stuck on this the first time I attempted it. So what you need to do is click upload public key files. And then you need to do browse. And this browses to the Linux computer on this session. Then you show hidden files. And then you go .ssh, and then you choose id_rsa.pub. And then that should show up there. And then next thing is, done all that. In the boot volume section, leave the boxes unchecked at their defaults. Yeah, so leave all those 3 unchecked. Click on the create button to create the instance. Okay, and then we get we get the amber square with an I in it, I for instance. So amber means it's something's happening, you need to be patient, and then green once it's done. So anytime soon we should get wait for the instance to enter running state. examine the information in the instance information screen. Identify the assigned fault domain, private and public IP addresses, and other important information. Note that you can control your instance with the button for stop, reboot, and change shape. So stop, reboot. Oh, you've got to change shape under there. While that's going on, just have a look at this public IP address 150.136.231, because we're going to need that in a second. So next, connect to the instance. Right, this is a good bit. This is the fun bit. So go down to applications, and we're going to SSH to it. So what I just need to do first is copy that public IP address, because that's the public IP address of our virtual cloud network. And let's go here, applications, terminal emulator, and then we do SSH O. Be careful to type this the right way around. OPC at the IP address. Then you say yes when it says, do you want to establish the connect, blah, blah, blah. Permanently added, and then you should be SSH'd on to this terminal, this jump box. So just for some lols, let's just do Python 3. There you go, 368. Right, anyway. Create and mount block storage. So OCI offers 3 types of storage. You've got block storage. So that's a solid state disk. You've got object storage, which is for massive capacity, for commonly used for disaster recovery, document storage, and analytics data. The third type is file storage. File storage is essentially an OS file system that's shared over the network. So we're going to be adding some block storage. So from the, go up to the hamburger again, and we go to block volumes, and just bear with me, I need to shut a window because somebody's running a chainsaw outside. Okay, so block volumes, storage, block volumes, create block volume, and then name of your choice. So DV1. Oh yeah, the one thing you need to change is you just need to come down here and go custom, and then we just need to change that to 50 because we don't want to create an enormous volume. So then take all the defaults, default, leave as balanced, no selection necessary. Oh, select your compartment. Hopefully our compartment is for compartment for backup policies. That's already selected, Luna. Or is it? No backup policy selected. Okay, so it's just the backup. Okay, encryption, default to Oracle managed keys, create block volume. And then we click that and we should get a nice big green circle with BV in a few minutes time. So while that's running, let's just read the next step. So next we need to attach the instance, but attach instance, that was quick. And then attached instances. Attached to instance. And paravirtualized, read write, select instance, choose instance, OCI basics. So we're attaching this volume to the instance. The instance is effectively the brains of the operation, and we're attaching the volume, which is the kind of the storage or the hard drivers, if you were. Choose the first available path from the drop down. We want Oracle Dev, Oracle OCI, Oracle DDB. It just says choose the first one. And we want to attach. Attaching. Click attach. After a few moments, you'll get confirmation that your block has been attached. Once that's done, we're going to go back to the command line and do lsblk. How are we doing for time? So far we've taken 18 minutes, so probably another 10-15 minutes to run. Should be able to complete this comfortably within the allotted time. While that's running, I'm just going to bring up my fantastic screensaver wallpaper, and still yellow. This does take a minute or so. So yeah, I hope this is kind of interesting. If none of you have seen any cloud type stuff before, I know it doesn't exactly fit in with the Python kind of theme, but it will do. Trust me. I'll be attempting to use the Python SDK with the Oracle OCI API in due course. What I'll be doing is I'll be trying to run this lab, but rather than running this lab, I'll be using my 59 minutes to experiment with the command line. And I know there may be issues doing it because of the what do they call it? Fingerprint and so on. It's taking its time, isn't it? So there we go. Oh, the volume cannot be attached to another instance because the volume is not configured as shared. Should that be there? Oh yeah, that's on. Yeah, fine. So far so good. Now, LSB list block, and there we have it, SDB. You see SDB, and we've got 50 gig disk. So next we just have to follow these steps. So what we'll do, we have to format the volume. So sudo fdisk dev sdb-l, and then yeah, that's all good. Sudo. So next we need to create an ext4 file system. So we'll do sudo mkfs.ext4-l, capital L. Then we do data, and then dev/sdb, creating journal 65536 blocks. Good, that's done. All good. And then sudo make directory p, and then we make we create a mount point to mount the block volume. So we do www.html, and then we do sudo mount. I'm going to attach it to dev sdb. So we're going to attach the mount point to dev sdb. Good. And then we do lsblk again. And there you can see sdb, and it's got mount point mnt www.html. So far so good. So we're up to page 6 of page 9 if anybody's in a hurry. So this is Red Hat, so we're going to use yum. So sudo yum install httpd cmd-y. So we're installing an Apache web server here. Nothing to see here. And then in an earlier step, we added a security rule to allow traffic from the internet to port 80 through our virtual cloud network. You also need to configure the standard Linux firewall to allow traffic on the instance itself. So we're setting up a Linux file server or a Linux web server on our virtual cloud or attached to our virtual cloud network. So it's all virtual. So this is a virtual web server inside our virtual network. And what we need to do is edit the virtual Apache server to allow traffic to port 80. I don't know, no match for argument HT. Oh, did I type something there? Strange. I don't know what that is. I can't remember if that's a problem or not. So sudo firewall firewall cmd permanent add port equals 80/TCP. Success. Sudo firewall -cmd -reload. Success. And then we will restart the HTTP daemon. So sudo systemctl start HTTPD. Oh, we have got a problem. What have I done wrong then? Oh, I think I mistyped this. Sorry. So what happens when you type and talk? It's a dangerous combo. Yeah, this is better. So the other steps I just did are fine. So opening up the firewall port 80 is fine. So those steps still are okay. Yeah, so now we need to just do the this bit again. There we go. And next we need to do this, which is we're going to get something from GitHub. And copy and paste does not work. This is, why is this? One Oracle. You might be giving us free training, but I don't want to. Right. wget. So we need to get this from GitHub. GitHub.com snuffers OCI-quick start -lab. This is really not ideal, but just drag your mouse across and it shows a bit more. Archive master.zip. Okay, so it's got it, it's fetched it. Right, so now unzip master.zip. It's extracted it, and then we will do sudo cp hyphen it's recursive OCI, press tab, at least the autocomplete slightly works. And then we want all the static files, and then we're going to copy those to mount mnt www.html Good. Next, you will need to modify the server configuration file, httpd.conf. Fine, so sudo. It says v. I wonder if vim works. I'm going to try vim just because I'm a maverick. If vim's not on here, I'll cry because that's. Yeah, that's okay. Right. So search for the string var ww and replace with mount ww. There are 3 references to the CGI bin directory. You don't need to change those. Right. Here's a tip. Use the below command to do a global search and replace each of the var term with the mnt term. It will replace all instances, so don't do this as a rule, but in our case, it won't hurt anything. Enter command mode, and the below command, it should say that it's made 9 substitutions on 9 lines. Yeah, here we go. So we do %s, so it does all lines. Var, and we just want to swap var for mnt, and then we do /g because it's greedy, and we'll wait and see 9. Yeah, there we go. So 9 lines, 9 substitutions on 9 lines. And then, so do Shift ZZ to save the file. Not everybody knows that. Shift ZZ. Anyway, this isn't a Vim lesson as such. Sudo chcon, and this is because we're using security enhanced Linux. And type equals httpd underscore sys underscore rw underscore content underscore t slash mnt slash ww slash. I'm doing this bit here. In fact, they didn't even specify that. Okay. Sudo systemctl restart httpd. So what we're doing now is just we're finishing off preparing the Apache server side of things. And now we go back to in the browser. Oh, we're there. So go back to our instance, which is instances. It's pinned. There's that. You see the little green pin? OCI basics. If we click on that, it just gives us that IP address. So then we copy, and if we go up here and paste it in, nothing happens because we need to do HTTP. Oh, well, this is a turn up. Well, I wasn't expecting that. And where have we gone wrong, everybody? Upstream connect error or disconnect reset before headers, reset reason, local reset. Well, let me just fix this. Oh no, the pressure's on now. I went back and I was getting some kind of reset. Upstream connect error or disconnect reset before headers, reset reason, local reset. And I think I've added the, looking back, I wasn't really concentrating. What I've done is I've added the access list onto the wrong subnet. So let's see if that fixes it. By that, yeah, you can see there were two, and I was trying to read it off the small screen and just following it. So there we go, it's fixed. So what I did there, just for completeness, is I'd actually bring that down a bit. What I'd done was I'd added I'd amended the wrong security list. So there was a security list for the private subnet, and there was a security list for the public subnet. Now, when you're running a web server, obviously the traffic's coming in via the public subnet, and I'd actually made the access list. I'd added the ingress rule onto the private list. So yeah, just to ingress rule. So if you go up here on OCN Basics VCN, which is the whole virtual cloud network that we've been making, and there we see I'd added it to the default, no, to the private, and I should have added it to the default. So now it's existing in the default, and we've got this one here, allow full traffic from anywhere on port 80. So yeah, ingress rules on the default security list for OCN Basics VCN. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So we've done well for time. We've got 17 minutes left. Probably not enough to start tinkering with any Python scripts or trying to investigate how to use the API. We'll save that for next time or another day. But in the meantime, yeah, I hope this has been interesting, and this is all free. So let me just remind you really of what we've done. We've gone to Oracle Get Started with Cloud Infrastructure Basics, and we've created a virtual network, virtual cloud network. So that's basically virtual gateway, virtual subnets, virtual load balancer if you want. And yeah, we've created all those, and then we've attached an instance, which is basically a server, and then we've attached some storage to that server. And in attaching the storage to the server, we've then been able to run an Apache web server, and then we've configured all this via a virtual Linux host. So yeah, you run the lab, and then the lab runs all of the virtual cloud. Oracle Cloud Infrastructure is all run via this web page, which is run on a virtual server, which you can connect to via Oracle provided free lab environment. So who says there's no such thing as a free lunch? There is. Well, I think Oracle are being quite warm and friendly at the moment, because they want to get some market share off Amazon and Microsoft Azure and all of those. So yeah, hopefully this has been interesting, and yeah, it's always good just to see that something actually does work, rather than just following a PDF or some instructions for half an hour and then getting to the last step and then finding that the PDF was written in May 2020 and it's a year old, and just one little thing's changed, and now that the whole thing falls over. And also I've shown you a little mistake, a little faux pas that I made, which was I'd added the ingress rule to the wrong subnet, and then I was getting a connection error reset, and that's what you'll get if something's being blocked by a firewall, because that's effectively what's happening. The firewall wasn't stopping the traffic when we were trying to connect to the Apache, the example Apache web server. So yeah, I'd like to thank you for watching, and yeah, we'll be back soon with something else.